She looked right at me and she goes, "Are you Kevin from Charred?" And I was like, "Yeah, yes, Charred, yes, the podcast, yeah, it's working."
Haven style pizza, come and take a seat. A beats, it's time to eat.
Charred, a New Haven pizza show. Hey, it's Kevin Begley, Frank Zabsky, episode 24. And this is fitting.
24, baby.
Yes, it's fitting that it's episode 24 because today, since we have, hope everyone had a great holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah,
Yes.
all of it. We have New Year's Eve coming up, and it's the end of the year. Everyone's doing their countdown lists. You see all these lists come out, the top whatever of the year, the songs, the movies. We're doing our top moments, pizza-related and Charred-related, of 2024. And it's episode 24. How weird is that?
Bingo. We got to play that lottery.
Right, exactly. So we'll do sort of a countdown, but we'll kind of go through each moment of the year and see and give our thoughts on it and how it went. We'll do some of our favorite episodes that we've done too.
Yeah.
So let's start with basically the first year of the show. We launched this on National Pizza Day, February 9th, 2024. It's been a wild ride so far.
It's been crazy, Kevin. I never thought we would be at the end of our first year. I know we talked about this for probably 6 months or so before it even came to fruition.
Yeah.
And, big shout out to Connoisseur Media that you work for. Kevin works Star 99. And Ed, who's our video audio guy. Kristen, the boss.
Yep.
Without those people, we wouldn't have this show.
It's true. We were, I obviously met you a few years ago doing the pizza class, and then we had the idea about the Pizza Fest, which happened first, and then we always talked about doing this show, sort of podcast style, and luckily we were able to make it happen, and it's just crazy. At the beginning we were like, are we going to be able to do this for the, twice a month?
What are we going to talk about?
Where are we going to film? What are we going to do? And yes, big thank you to Ed and Kristen and everyone here at Connoisseur, and to you too, to everyone putting in work to make this happen.
Yeah. We'll see what 25 brings. I know Ed's going to have a big frown on his face, but I do want to have some call-in stuff.
We'll give a little sneak peek to like some of our goals, like our aspirations for this show. Yeah, we'd like to have call-ins, kind of like the radio stations do.
Yep.
With morning shows and stuff, where we have you call in. We know you have your big Facebook group.
Yeah.
Where there's a ton of members there.
Yep.
So we've taken comments and questions from the group, but it would be fun to have either video, like Zoom style, or just like a phone line call-in to do and we also want to do a live show at some point.
Yeah, we talked about both those things, and obviously it takes a little bit of time. But, the thing that I found is that a lot of people, especially in Connecticut, because we don't particularly have – I know we have a professional basketball team. Thank you, Kevin.
Connecticut Sun.
But, people love to tell you about their opinions.
Yeah.
Or to tell you if you're right or wrong or whatever the case might be. And so I think it would just be fun, to try that. We're obviously going to go to some more pizzerias.
Yep.
I'm going to get back to that. And one of the ideas that we came up with, and we just haven't had the time, is kind of going out and with our little cardboard signs.
Oh, yeah.
And, so there's the word beats, which people mangle and just have fun and interact with people.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Just do some like on the street style videos and audio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if anyone has ideas, things that you want to see from us that you haven't seen yet, episode ideas, places we should go, where we should film episodes, anything like that, you can always just send us a message on any of our social media, YouTube. You can email too. The email's in the description of all the podcasts.
Yeah, and neither one of us are particularly hard to find. My email is frank@newhavenpizzaschool.com. And if you want to get us some ideas, we're more than willing to consider.
But I have to say, this has been a really fun journey for me so far doing this, because I'm so used to doing the radio stations.
Yeah.
And we do so many events and so many things with the radio that it's fun to do something a little bit different. And there was that moment where I went to Milford Photo and the employee there, I went to get my passport photo. My passport was expired. And, this sounds like a humble brag, but people come up to me sometimes because of the radio station and they're like, "Oh, hey, Kevin from Star." That's what I assumed she was going to say, because she looked right at me and she goes, "Are you Kevin from Charred?" And I was like, "Yeah, yes, Charred, yes, the podcast, yeah, it's working."
Yeah.
So that was an awesome moment that happened this year. That was really kind of a highlight for me, because that kind of showed that people were watching, it was catching on, people were into it.
it's going to take time. That's really what it's going to be. And ultimately, it's going to be what the people want.
Yeah.
But another shout out, and I always forget this, and this, you triggered something in my head. I had someone that I kind of know, and they're like, Frank, we heard you on the radio. And I forgot that this show gets broadcast on ICC.
WICC, yeah.
And that's another shout out to Connoisseur and ICC for having us on. I think it's every other week on Friday nights or something.
They run on Sundays.
Okay, Sundays.
Yep. So it kind of switched a little bit once they started doing it. They played around with the different days. It's Sundays, I believe, at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Again, go to ICC's website. You can see where it actually runs. But yeah, WICC 600 on AM and 95.9 on the FM dial. You can stream ICC too. Yeah. We're on there right now. So big shout out to ICC.
Yeah. So I mean, we're on podcast, all the podcast platforms.
Every one of them. Yep.
YouTube channel.
Yep.
Charred, New Haven.
Charred, New Haven.
And then we're on Sundays at 5 o'clock roughly. Check the time.
Check your local listings. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we got a big platform going into 2025, which is
absolutely
good. And pizza has never been more popular. I feel like it's sort of like good timing to do this show. And one of my other favorite moments of the year was the second annual Connecticut Pizza and Brew Fest that we did.
100%.
Let's get into that a little bit. So, the planning that goes into that is basically all year. Like we're already thinking about next year. So
yeah. Yeah, again, it was one of those situations that, when you approached me several years ago and said, hey, you want to do something with us, a lot of these things are kind of out-of-body experiences for me because I came from boring IT for 30 years. And it was fun and everything, but it kind of got not fun at the end. But it's like, to kind of be, on the radio, so to speak, doing this, and it's just fun. I just, I am not a professional like you, but I enjoy doing it, and I'm pretty comfortable doing it.
You're a professional pizza person, though.
Yeah, I'm a professional pizza person.
And that Connecticut Pizza and Brew Fest, there's a lot of going into that. The first year was a lot of like, is this going to work? Are people going to actually show up? And then we had the storm that happened, the pouring rain the day of. Then going into year two, it was like, okay, this worked last year in the pouring rain. People still showed up. What's it going to be like this year? How can we make it different? Can we change layouts? Can we add different things? And there's a lot of stress that goes into it. Like, I don't know should we do it? Like there was a moment where we're like, should we do it again? Are people going to care? And people cared. I mean, people came out.
Yeah, no, it was a great turnout. I think, like you said, the first year was a little bit stressful. A, because it was our first year, and B, because the weather was bad.
Yeah.
The second year we made improvements, and I think the third year is probably going to be our best.
Yeah, because you really start to hit the stride once you've done it a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, like the first thing, and I think you and I maybe looked at each other, and it just was something that we just didn't think of. We had the band on the stage, but we had the pizza trucks in the in the parking lot, and so I know we're already going to make adjustments for that. But the bottom line is, it's all about having fun.
Yeah,
and celebrating pizza in Connecticut.
And we were obviously in the panel room for most of the day, which were fantastic. Again, I mean, I could listen to those guys talk forever. Like the stories they have, hearing them interact with each other. Those panels are my favorite part of the Pizza Fest.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about the panels is it allows people who are at the fest to come and talk to the owners and the people of these pizzerias that they never would have kind of met really on the street, so to speak. And we had 3 panels. We had icons in the making.
Yep.
We had New Haven pizza icons and then my New Haven pizza demo. But we had Sally's there, Pepe's, Ernie's, Grand Abit's. We had Arsenio from New Haven Pizza Place, Heath from Carmine's, Joe from Tipsy, and I think a couple others.
Yeah, it was great.
And people were into it.
Yeah, way into it. And that was the other thing with year one. The timing was a little weird. Where like the first panel, there wasn't enough people in there yet.
We had to call an audible.
Yeah, we had to move the times around. This year we had it dialed in a little more, and the seats were filled for all those panels. Like people loved it. So. Yeah, and then we obviously posted those as podcasts. So if you weren't able to be there, you could still watch them on our YouTube channel or listen too.
Yeah, one thing, and we won't go too much farther on this, but one thing that I remember is I believe there was actually a lady from Oklahoma.
Yes, in the crowd. Yeah.
Now, whether she came specifically for the Pizza Fest or
Right.
not, but she had all kinds of crazy questions, and she was, cool.
Tulsa, I think it was. Yeah, she was
I think you're right.
We came from Tulsa, Oklahoma to come to this. And yeah, so we don't know if she was like originally from here visiting for another reason.
She had an accent. I don't think she was probably originally from
Right.
here, but yeah.
But I like to go with the story of like she flew here to come
course.
to the Pizza Fest from Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's how big this
We're
pizza.
going with that story.
Yeah, that's the story. That's the official story. And speaking of coming to Connecticut for pizza, one of the other big things that happened that we talked about a few different episodes when it happened is the pizza signs. That got national. I feel like it got national press.
national press.
When they put up the big blue signs you see at the state lines here in Connecticut that say "Welcome to Connecticut, Governor Ned Lamont," and they put up all these different home of basketball, home of the sub base,
Yeah.
and then one of them was the home to the pizza capital of the United States.
Yeah, and that got all kinds of controversy from New York and New Jersey and all kinds of other things. And we talked about my opinion on it. I'm kind of in the middle because I think it's cool in general because I love pizza and I love Connecticut.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like, if you're good at something, people will know about it.
Right. Yeah. Kind of let your game speak for itself. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm actually in talks, and I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but I'm trying to working with the state to have like a Connecticut versus New York versus New Jersey kind of pizza wars thing.
Oh, that would be neat. Like an event.
Right.
That would be cool.
And that'll it'll be fun. It'll be a little bit controversial, but it'll kind of bring the three states together. And, it's kind of like the Pilgrims and the Indians.
Yeah. Put your words in your dough, New York and New Jersey. Let your pizza do the talking.
Yeah. And I think, to be fair, we'd either have to have completely impartial judges that are not particularly from around here,
Yeah.
or we do a participants only.
Yeah, just the people you invite or you sell tickets or something like that. And how would you pick the pizza places? You could almost have little like primaries. So like in Connecticut, you have all the pizza places compete in the big one.
Right.
And then New Jersey and New York, they do the same thing. And then you have the three.
Yeah, it can be bracketed. It's just kind of a drawing board thing right now, but I think it would be really cool.
But if nothing else, this sign kind of started that sort of conversation, which I think is fun. And it's fun to have that competition with New York and New Jersey. And, I think a lot of people saw that sign and they were like, oh, this is like, because it was always kind of an underlying thing. Like, oh, yeah, we have the best pizza. We have the best pizza. But it was never like an official thing with Connecticut until that sign went up. It just makes me laugh. It's funny.
It was a marketing genius.
Yeah.
I will give credit where credit's due.
And it gave us content for like 2 different episodes. So that's the thing. Like
3 now.
Yeah, 3, right. So like doing this show, it's like we talk about a lot of pizza stuff, but every other week we're always emailing like what stories are out there, like what pizza stories can we talk about?
Right.
And it's much like when I do the radio show here on Star, we're always prepping for content. What can we talk about today? And when that story hit, I was like, perfect. This is going to give us content.
This is a no-brainer.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how you do new content every single day on your afternoon
Right.
show. I mean, we have a pretty good. We're never particularly at a lack of content.
No.
And both of us can talk.
Yeah.
So we're long in the tooth.
And I guess one of the more recent things that was very recent because we just had him on, but was the pizza statue.
Yeah.
So New Haven Pizza Club, Mike.
We got one of his pieces here.
Yep, Michael right here, Michael Pollock, and this one right here too.
Yep, right there.
I love that one with the slice and the map.
It's really cool.
So yeah, obviously go back and watch that episode if you haven't seen it yet. But that 9,000-pound pizza statue that showed up at his art pop-up, that got a lot of press too.
Yeah, it did. He's a super talented guy, super creative, and a genuinely nice guy.
Super nice, yeah.
And so that's, you've done a lot more interviews than I have, but most of the people that I've interviewed back when I was doing pizza reviews, everyone was really cool, but he's kind of one of those guys that kind of stood out just because he's so passionate.
And just a creative mind. He's constantly, you can just tell even in the interview, he's like thinking of ideas, much like yourself. Like you're always thinking of ideas too. But some people just have that tunnel vision mind and also the creative brain. I'm like envious of it because like as he's talking, he's like, well, let's do this, this, and this. I think it's the artist mind too,
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, unfortunately.
Right.
Sometimes. So, and the cool thing about Mike and several other people that I know is that there's a lot of people that come up with ideas, but there's a very few amount of people that come up with ideas and actually do things
and execute on them. Yeah.
So that is something that I have a lot of respect for.
And that statue, I mean, so the district in New Haven is where they have all his art show, his art gallery for the pizza stuff. But when that statue showed up, I was like, this thing is amazing. And he's had it in a couple different spots. So he had it, when it came out, we started talking about it. It was, I believe, at District. And then it went to Modern for a little bit. And then he told the story on the episode where he trucked it all the way to One Bite Fest to try to get it there. And they took it away on a forklift. Yeah, it's funny. It's a cool little thing that goes hand in hand with like the pizza sign and like the state and all that.
And I think he said that the state contacted him and he might do some sculptures or something like that.
It's smart of them to do, like to get him to almost like commission him to like make some pizza stuff here in the state at different places.
And I think he said the city of New Haven wants to buy it. Because I think it's still at Modern right now.
Yeah. But you had the idea to lease it to people, which is smart too. Like, okay, for this price, and then everyone gets it for like a month.
Listen, at the end of the day, we all got to make a living.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just that simple. So, yeah,
Let's go into, so those are a couple of the big news stories that happened with pizza this year. Let's go into our favorite episodes. So this is 24. We've done 24 episodes, 24 of these. So when you think, without looking, I went back and looked just so I could like jog my memory a little bit on all the different episodes and people that we interviewed and all that. But when someone just says like, what was your favorite episode so far? What immediately comes to mind?
So the first one that immediately comes to mind, just because I like this kind of humor. So I grew up in a very Italian neighborhood. So the one with Arsenio at New Haven Pizza School, where he was showing his kids the facime char.
Yes.
So facime is a word that I can't explain what it means, but use your imagination or Google it. And, he's just such a character. And I love the word, and I just love how he described the whole thing. He was talking about the char.
Yep.
So there's regular char, and there's facime char.
Yeah.
Facime char it's really burnt, and there's a difference between charred and burnt.
And real quick, I just want to, if you want to go back and watch it, that was episode 6 that we did.
Okay.
Which was 7 months ago.
Yep. 7 months ago.
So yeah, go back and watch episode 6 if you want to see Arsenio.
Yeah, so that was really like the first one that comes out, Mike from We're Back Pizza is just a naturally funny guy.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun with him.
Great name, too. We're Back.
Yeah, We're Back. And great grandma bakery style pizza there.
Yeah.
And then Heath from Carmine's, so I kind of grew up with Heath. I mean, we weren't particularly friends, but we knew each other.
Yep.
And we both came from very humble backgrounds. So the thing that really got me with Heath is that he's been super successful.
Yeah.
Not only with Carmine's in Durham, but with his Carmine's frozen pizzas.
Definitely.
And I just think it's cool. We both came from, I don't want to say the streets, but we both came from humble beginnings. And to see a guy like him succeed makes my heart warm.
When we emailed about this idea about doing this end of the year show, and we're like, let's do our favorite episodes, that was the first one that popped in my head.
Really?
I mean, I love all the episodes. I love talking to all these pizza guys, pizza people at all these different restaurants. They're so great. Like, everyone's awesome. But the Heath Carmine's one, maybe because we were outside, that kind of changed it a little bit.
It was hot as heck that day.
Yeah, it was hot. And Durham's just like beautiful too. Like, so
Ed was complaining about how hot it was.
Poor Ed. So the ice cream place, like, I can still envision it. Like when I'm sitting at the picnic table and the ice cream place across the street, and us talking to Heath there on the picnic table, eating the pizza, the smell. The whole time we were recording that episode, it was just smells of
it was like
cooking.
Being outside of Burger King.
It was crazy, yeah, but of awesome, delicious pizza. And then his whole story, like you said, about the frozen pizzas, how he started that. He's just a great storyteller as well. Yeah, that was definitely up there for me.
Yeah, and the one thing, like, I'm looking into maybe doing some frozen pizza stuff, and Heath is basically like, listen, let's sit down. I'll help you out as much as I can. And it's kind of like rare because not that we would be competition, but we would be in the same kind of maybe freezer section. And I think like what it says about someone to help someone like that. Doug Coffin's another example. I know he's helped numerous people get into the mobile pizza business.
We got to shout out Doug. That was our first episode ever at Next Door. And he's a legend too, like telling his stories that he had that episode. If you haven't seen the first episode, maybe you came across Charred, halfway through the year and you hadn't gone back and watched.
Go back.
Yeah, go binge it over the New Year's Eve, holiday. But yeah, the Doug episode was great because it was the first one.
Yeah, I mean, Doug's probably one of the most down-to-earth people you'll ever meet in your life. I think he literally would give you the shirt off his back.
Yeah.
A lot of people's businesses wouldn't be as successful without him being around.
Yeah, definitely. And another one, just because it's so unique, was the cast iron.
Yes.
Cast iron chef pizza.
Attila the Hun, I call him.
Attila. I mean, he's hilarious too. And a bunch of these guys were at the pizza panel, and they were also great there at the pizza.
He was at the pizza panel too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just opened up again. So we went actually Saturday night. If you've never been, cast iron pizza. I always get this wrong. Cast iron pizza.
Cast iron chef pizza?
Yeah, cast iron chef pizza.
In bar?
Seymour. Claridus Village.
Did he have damage from the flood?
He had damage from the flood.
Oh, man.
He was closed for about 4 months.
Wow.
So, he just opened up the night before Thanksgiving.
Oh, good.
Had a band. He's probably one of the hardest workers that I know.
Yeah.
Because he has that restaurant, and then he has Cast Iron Chef Chop House, downtown New Haven, State Street.
Yep.
It's like an award-winning restaurant.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's great that he's back open.
Yeah. Attila only does things one way, which is the best way.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like about him. He's got a lot of energy, and he gives us a hard time.
Yeah, he's funny.
And the crack corn.
Oh, the crack corn. The popcorn's the best. And a couple other things before we wrap up our list of the top moments. We got to shout out Char.
Yeah, my boy.
Your new dog.
Yeah, Char came on the scene about 4 weeks ago. He's literally doubled in size. His paws are bigger as catcher's mitts.
We did a Meet Char video on our Instagram, so if you haven't seen him yet, go to the Charred Instagram. You can see him there.
Yeah, and if people follow me or they're on my Facebook group, all about New Haven Style of Beats, I randomly will put videos out about him. He's a black lab, 100%, so that's why we call him Char.
Yeah.
And he's really a great dog. I mean, he's like a baby, so we got to take him out at 3 o'clock in the morning. But,
he's adorable, yeah.
He is incredible.
That's great. Yeah, so we have a mascot, Connecticut Pizza Pup.
Absolutely. And if we do like these things we talked about, maybe going to amphitheater and doing our kind of pizza sign things, we're going to bring him and, give him a couple pets.
Yeah. And then one thing that you recently did, which I think will be a big thing in 2025 maybe, is you just filmed a music video. Am I going to start playing you on Star? What's happening?
I don't know about that.
Are you a music star now? You getting into the pop world? What's going on with this?
So I wrote this song about year and a half ago, maybe 2. It took about a year to come to fruition, but basically it's a song about New Haven pizza.
It's our intro.
Yeah.
At the beginning
style pizza. Oh, what a treat.
A beats.
That's why I don't sing. Exactly. So this last Sunday, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, we were at Next Door and we had a film crew and production come in and start to film a music video for the song.
Nice.
The goal is for the state of Connecticut to adopt it as its kind of tourism pizza song.
That's awesome.
Connecticut's big right now into getting people to Connecticut, the tourism division, to promote pizzas in Connecticut. So, yeah, it was cool. It was like an out-of-body experience because I literally remember sitting in my chair and writing this song, and I am not an artist. I am not particularly a musician.
Yeah, you just did it for fun. Yeah.
I love music, have loved music my whole life. And I said, you know what? I'm going to write a song. And that's kind of how my crazy brain works.
Well, I'm sure if that gets finished and released at some point, we'll definitely talk about it here on Charred.
Yeah, definitely. We're planning a big press release when it goes out. Shout out quick to Sal Grillo from Progressive Music. He helped me a lot with the song.
Nice.
And then Lucinda and Mick from Red Room Studios up in Torrington.
Awesome. All right, well, that wraps it up for the year, actually. So thank you all for a wonderful first year of Charred. Season 1. I guess we could make them seasons.
Yeah. Yep.
So we'll start season 2 in 2025. Happy New Year. Have a safe and happy New Year. And remember, as always, it's not burnt.
It's charred, baby.
New Haven style.